day, legendary Joe. How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah. Good evening.
I want us to talk about His Excellency Atiku's statement on zoning. What is your official position on Atiku's statement regarding zoning in Nigeria's political system?
Yeah, just beautiful. Atiku had written in a statement that zoning, in his exact words, he said zoning is self-defeating. And in the statement, I was able to fetch out three major highlights. And according to me, those highlights really reflect the most disturbing fractures in the architecture of Atiku's character. Atiku had said, well, look, presidency should be based on competence. He said, look, let's do away with zoning and choose our candidates based on merit, based on competence, based on character. Beautiful. Brilliant. On the surface, you consider expressions such as this, statements like this, you consider them noble. You consider them progressive. You can even consider them cosmopolitan, that this man is thinking like a visionary. That as Nigerians of different parts of the nation should have the right to aspire for the presidency at any point in time, provided they are competent, provided they are capable, provided their character is intact. Those words are harmless on their own. But if you weigh those words upon the scales of history, you realize and find out that Atiku's actions violently betray those words. In 2010, when Goodluck Jonathan was to run in the 2011 elections, Goodluck Jonathan had succeeded Yaradua after the unfortunate passing of Umaru. Now, Atiku challenged Goodluck Jonathan right to run. He didn't challenge him because he thought he couldn't, he lacked merit. He didn't challenge him because he thought he was not capable. He didn't challenge him because he found fault in Goodluck Jonathan's character. The only reason Atiku challenged Jonathan was because he said it was the turn of the North. Atiku ferociously fought for zoning. And he didn't restrict his challenge to mere words. He actually took the case to court. And when the judiciary found some merits in that regard, saying yes, PDP had such convention, 8 years of the South, after OBJ had spent 8 years, a northerner should succeed and spend, the next 8 years. Unfortunately, Yaradua passed. And by the doctrine of necessity, Goodluck Jonathan succeeded him. Atiku fought for zoning, violently so. And when the judiciary, saw merit in his argument, Atiku the following day released headlines saying, yes, the North had been vindicated. So, if you fought for zoning ferociously, vehemently, violently so in 2010, what happened? You encountered Christ on your road to Damascus? No. We say, look, when leaders say one thing and do another, they weaken both their authority and their vision. Consistency is a requirement for a leader that deserves following. 2, Atiku had said no candidate from the same zone as the incumbent can win. By merit, he said if the incumbent president is from the north, a northern aspirant or candidate cannot defeat him. If the incumbent president is from the south, a southern candidate cannot defeat him. Meaning, only a northern candidate should be allowed to run against a southern president. Only a southern candidate should be allowed to run against a northern president. Correct? Again, we say, when did Atiku realize this? Because in 2019, Atiku ran against Muhammadu Buhari. We asked Atiku, was President Muhammadu Buhari from Ibadan? Or was he from Onitsha? Or was he from Bayelsa? Buhari was a northerner. Atiku, he is a northerner. But Atiku ran against him. So then, did they not consider this theory of his, saying, okay, no, as a northerner, I shouldn't run against Buhari, I won't win. So let's allow the southerners to do it. You see, the credibility of a leader is built where words and action meet. Because all we see here now is not mere rhetoric, it is the height of desperation as far as I'm concerned, when your words contradict your actions so consistently. And when leaders become desperate, principles become the first casualties. The third point, Atiku had mentioned, he said the North had only 10 years. He said since 1999, the North has had only 10 years and the South has had 18 years, suggesting that, look, there's a gap. The North has not yet used. So the North should be allowed that. Now, this is the same man that was talking that we shouldn't zone. Right? In the first point, you said you shouldn't zone, we should consider merit. Now you are back to talking about zoning because there's a gap. But why this is disturbing for me is that earlier in the week, I've seen some of his minions post this narrative. So in 1999, we've had OBJ 8 years, correct? We've had Jonathan 5 years plus. Now we have Tinubu 4 years. Compared to Yar'Adua and Buhari, Southerners have had more. And we've corrected them, like I will correct Atiku now. And for his minions to post it ahead of him, it tells you, it confirms what I told you in my earlier video, that when you want to determine the character of a leader, not all of us will have access to our leaders, but observe the behavior of those that follow him. Because followers are a reflection, mirror reflection of those that they follow. If your followers are toxic, are aggressive, are violent, like obedience, be sure that regardless of the pretense of their leader, it's equally toxic. And if followers are ignorant, like articulates, forget the posture of their leader, is equally ignorant. Because if we corrected that boy, we will correct Atiku, his leader too now. That Nigeria did not start from 1999. Yes, we didn't gain our independence in 1999. Nigeria started existing as an independent nation under God, 1960. And from 1960 to 2026, as we speak, the Northerners, if you count from Tafawa Balewa to the Muritala Muhammad of this world, to the Yakubu Gowon of this world, to the IBB of this world, to the Buhari first era of this world, you count it down to Abacha of this world, to Abdul Salami of this world, to Buhari's second coming, they have had 45 years minimum. If you count the Southerners, from Aguiyi-Ironsi to OBJ, first coming, I omitted Shagari with the Northerners, it's included. OBJ, first coming, then you count it to OBJ again, second coming, and then down to Asiwaju, Jonathan 5 years. The South has only had 20 years. If Atiku considered that in the Fourth Republic there's 8-year gap that the North is yet to use, from 1960, Alhaji, Waziri, Atiku, Abubakar, there's a gap of at least 24 years the South is yet to use. So if you are going to follow Alhaji Atiku's logic, the Southerners have six must be allowed to run 6 unbroken terms before they can even consider giving it back to the North. But we say no. We say no. You see, leaders of Atiku's political age should not utter certain statements. It does not only demean and reduce their stature before young public, because most people that vote today are young. Most people that vote today may not even remember Atiku's era as vice president. So the words that should come out from such an elder politician should be words that encourage unity, encourage progress, and not that inspires division. And it is so because, look, Atiku is saying all this because he's aiming at ensuring that, look, all Southerners should step down for him. The same thing he did to PDP in 2023. The PDP was supposed to zone to the south. Atiku insisted and destroyed that party. PDP is a legacy party. PDP ushered in our Fourth Republic. And on the desperation and unbridled ambitions of one man, that party is now the shadow of itself. It's not even sure that the party will present a candidate in this race. So we say, look, desperation clouds judgment, the way arrogance blinds it. And I fear that at the rate Atiku goes, he may soon insist that only candidates 80 years and above should contest, so that he will ensure that only him is in the race. This is unfair. So we say zoning First of all, I've established before now, it's not a Nigerian thing. There are countries whose zone are along religious lines. There are countries whose zone. When you have a country as multi-interest, multi-religious, and multi-tribal like this, you must ensure that there's fairness, there's justice, there's equity. Because even the constitution, because today people argue that zoning is not constitutional, but the constitution recognizes federal character that ensure that if the president is going to appoint ministers, he cannot pick from the same part of the, he cannot pick all of them from the same part of the country. You must maintain the spread, because there will be a day when the president will come and all his ministers will be either southerners or northerners from his part of the nation. Is Atiku telling us today that we should jettison zoning so we can have a presidential candidate as a northerner and his running mate as a northerner? Is he telling us that today we can have the 4 principal officers of our democracy, from the president to the speaker, we can have all of them from the same region? Nigeria will go into this election. And I heard the rumors of Jonathan running. Let it be 10 southerners that will be running. Let the best southerner wins. But we are not going to break the fragile unity we've managed to endure and sustain as a country on the basis of the ambitions of one man. No.